Right. So today we're going deep on Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
And looking at some internet searches that we have about this place.
Okay.
And just trying to figure out, like, what is it about Guantanamo Bay that is so intriguing to people?
Right.
We've got a lot of different searches here. You know, some are very straightforward, like Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
We've got some that are hinting at maybe some current events, like Trump Guantanamo. And then we have some really weird ones, like Lake and Riley Act summary.
Interesting.
Like, what is that all about?
Yeah.
So clearly this place is more than just a dot on the map.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Like, what's the pull here?
I think it's that Guantanamo Bay is this really interesting place in our kind of collective consciousness. Most people have heard of it, but very few people actually know anything about it.
Right.
And I think that the name itself carries a weight and a sense of mystery and unease.
It does, for sure. So let's back up for a second, though, and start with just like the basics of Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
Where exactly is this place?
So it's in Cuba.
Okay.
But it's been leased to the U.S. Navy since like the early 1900s.
Wow.
1903.
Okay.
So it's this really strange geopolitical anomaly.
Yeah.
Where we have this like 45 square mile chunk of Cuba that's been under U.S. control for over a century.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so not your typical U.S. territory.
No.
And I think most people, when they hear Guantanamo, they think about the detention camp.
Right. Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay Prison, these terms have become basically synonymous.
Yeah, they really have.
Yeah.
But we're seeing from these searches that it's more than that.
More than that, yeah. Like
there's
Guantanamo is also a functioning naval base.
Right.
And Guantanamo Bay Naval Base has been around longer than the detention camp.
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So speaking of the detention camp, though, we've got some searches here that are tying Trump and Guantanamo together.
Okay.
So did his administration actually change anything there?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of talk.
Right.
Trump, you know, he promised to load it up with bad dudes.
Right.
But despite that really strong rhetoric, no new detainees were actually sent there during his presidency.
Huh. Okay, so more bark than bite.
Yeah, I think his biggest impact was that he reversed Obama's executive order to close the camp. Okay. And that solidified its continued operation.
Gotcha. So more of a symbolic impact than practical one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then there's this one search that I'm just like, I don't even, Lake and Riley Act summary.
Right.
What is the connection to Guantanamo?
Just a strange one, right?
It's so weird.
So the Lake and Riley Act is focused on child pornography.
Okay.
Making sure that victims have legal recourse. Okay.
The connection to Guantanamo is strange.
Yeah.
But I think it probably stems from legal challenges that were brought forth on behalf of detainees who were minors when they were captured and sent to Guantanamo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole other...
It's a whole other...
Can of worms.
Can of worms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've also got some searches for DHS.
Right.
Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
What's their role in all of this?
So DHS is mostly involved in immigration and border security.
Okay.
I think in the context of Guantanamo, they're involved because they oversee the transfer of detainees who've been cleared for release to other countries.
Oh, okay. So they manage that whole process.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So we've covered like the where, the what, the who.
Right.
But let's get to like the heart of the matter here.
Yeah.
Like what makes Guantanamo such a controversial and ethically charged issue?
I mean, Guantanamo has become kind of this focal point in discussions about human rights, due process, the line between national security and individual liberties, the indefinite detention of prisoners without trial, the use of controversial interrogation methods, the legal limbo that a lot of detainees face. All of these things have drawn really sharp criticism from human rights organizations.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Guantanamo forces us to confront these really uncomfortable questions about how we balance security with human rights.
Exactly.
Especially in the context of, you know, the war on terror. Like, it's easy to say we stand for freedom and justice. Yeah. But then when you get into these situations, it's like, are we really?
It tests those principles, yeah.
It really does, yeah. And we can't ignore the global impact either.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
I mean, Guantanamo has become, in a lot of ways, a symbol of American power.
Yeah.
And its potential for overreach.
Right.
It's been used as a recruiting tool by extremist groups and continues to fuel anti-American sentiment.
Yeah, around the world.
It's really become this lightning rod for all of these issues.
It really is. It's amazing how this one place, Guantanamo, has become shorthand for such complex and weighty issues.
It's the power of place names, right? They become loaded with meaning. They carry the weight of history, trauma, political baggage. Guantanamo is more than just a location. It's this symbol. It's a lightning rod for all of these debates about, some of the most challenging issues.
Totally. So now that we've gone on this deep dive with us, what do you think about Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
Is it a necessary evil? Is it a regrettable chapter in history?
Right.
Is it something else entirely?
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, form your own conclusions.
Exactly.
All right. That's it for our deep dive on Guantanamo Bay. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye. Bye.